I think I don't know, but probably maybe Kofi can take it from a different angle because there are those that think that the history and then the premise that Percy has given us. I think it's more like a popularity contest now because, as you said, people vote for who they like. When you have fans voting, when you have national team coaches and journalists and team captains voting, people will vote for who they like, and it's not necessarily about what the player has done in the season under review. And so when you have an award scheme being manipulated and then people don't even follow the criteria, that's the reason why for somebody like me, I would not rate the Ballon d'Or as very credible. I think that voted for awards are always influenced by sentiment.
Well, I should think that per your last statement, that voted for awards are influenced by a lot of sentiments. I think that I will very much align with that school of thought. And for me, just like Percy has carefully elaborated, the purity of the award has been stained over the years. I mean, it's not pure in the correct sense of the word, because you look at players who have won the awards for various years under certain circumstances and legitimate questions have been raised. You realize that oftentimes the answers that have been given to support why it is that those players were chosen have been a bit too anemic. And for me, I honestly think that for football lovers and for people who love football, we watch football with different eye views. We watch football from different standpoints. You understand? There's something that somebody looks out for, you probably might not look out for. And so there's a reason why sometimes you would want to take away that fan base element. You understand? Because when you walk into a certain arena, you tell people to tell you who a talented player is. There are going to be a plethora of answers. I mean, everybody has their own criteria. So like Percy was trying to suggest, I think that over the years, one of the things that we have not failed to do right regards this particular award has to be setting down a clear-cut criteria.
Yeah.
People have spoken about various criteria that have been issued across the years, but I do not think that retrospectively we can all hit our chest and say that, oh, okay, these are the things that we followed, these were the lines that we followed, these were the strict lines that we played out from the playbook, and those were the reasons why we gave certain players certain awards. I think that, like I said previously, the purity of the awards have been a bit too waned, and I do not think that it carries a lot more weight like it would in yesteryear. I look at some of the names that have won the Ballon d'Or in recent times, in the past. You look at the names and then you want to read about their achievements, you want to read about their influence in their teams, you want to read about their influence in their era, and then you would want to juxtapose it with the names that have been circulated around recent Ballon d'Or winners. I mean, sometimes it's pretty much shocking. I mean, so for me, somebody deserves to be awarded, somebody deserves to be nominated. I do not think that, my candid opinion is that we do not put a lot of thought into who wins the Ballon d'Or these days. I think that we do not really put a lot of thought into who wins the Ballon d'Or. It's become, and I agree with your closing remarks, it's become more like a popularity contest. It's because of who I know. And football has that recall value. And so people oftentimes remember you with your very best showing, with your last showing. Reason why, even when Messi was not doing so well, just because it is Messi, just because of the things that he's done, that recall value, it gave people to align with him a lot of times. And for me, that's not always bear the full details of who it is that should win the Ballon d'Or?
Well, for the Ballon d'Or, France Football have released the list. That's what I was just looking at. They've been releasing it
In batches,
one at a time,
yeah.
yes. And there's the women's Copa Trophy.
Yeah.
That's the young player, best young player in the women's division. And unsurprisingly, there's Michelle Ajiman there.
Yeah.
We saw her at the Euros. There's Linda Caicedo there as well. I think she's Colombian. There's Vic Captain. She's a Dutch. There's Vicky Lopez, who is Spanish.
Yeah.
There's also Claudia Martinez Ovando. She's Paraguayan. And for the men, the young players, there's Ayub Boadidi. There's Paul Kubasi. There's Desiree Doué. There's Esteval, who, by the way, has joined
Chelsea.
Yes, he's joined the Chelsea in their training camp. There's Dean Houghton. There is also Miles Lewis Kelly. There's Rodrigo Mora. There's João Neves. There's Lamine Yamal. And then there's Kenan Yildiz. And so Percy mentioned Desiree Doué early on. He mentioned Lamine Yamal. He mentioned João Neves. These guys have been mentioned in the Copa.
Well, not too surprising. I mean, we also must pay attention to the fact that Yamal holds the title currently, and he's been nominated again, probably because of his age. I mean, people forget that he's still a young man. He just turned 18, right? Yeah, he's still 18 years old. Virtually has the world at his feet. But I am not too surprised some of the names that we have on the Copa Young Players list. I mean, all of the guys. Skelly had a breakout season with Arsenal, albeit Arsenal, they do not always get to do the do. But I mean, you watch Skelly and his performances, not just for Arsenal, but for the English national team proper. You realize that he had a breakout season. Not too surprised about Doué. Everybody thought that we probably the going out of Mbappe to Real Madrid, and subsequently Luis Enrique deciding on a different approach as to who it was, the personnel to deploy at PSG. A lot of people did not give this young guy the chance to make it out there, but he's taking his chance very well. Doué has come in. He's been able to usurp somebody like Bakola from the PSG starting 11, and I think that he's done a fantastic job being it there. There's João Neves. I mean, we cannot talk about PSG and forget their fantastic midfield trial, together with that Spanish boy, and then Fabian Ruiz together with Vitinha. They
need like six.
They formed arguably one of the best trials the world has seen in the recent past, and then so he deserves to be there. There's Yamal himself, and then there's that young boy who played for Bournemouth, that's moved on to Real Madrid. Dean Houghton, fantastic player. Earlier on, Percy talked about Beckenbauer. He so much reminds me of Beckenbauer. Rarely do you find young players who are technically gifted, especially with defenders. And I'll put Kubasi on that list also. You would find young players who are defended not too comfortable with the ball, especially when they are playing for high profile teams. I mean, in times of old, we used to call them liberos. You understand? I mean, you look at Dean Houghton, typical libero. He can be that anchor between the defense and the midfield and then the attack. I mean, very good with the ball at his feet, same as Kubasi. I think these are young boys who have matured before their age, and I am hoping to see how they progress with the latter years of their career.
Who would you have in your top three for
the Copa Award?
Yes.
Well, Yamal should be there. I mean, he's not the best player in the world. He's not the best player at Barcelona, but for his age and the confidence and the skill he plays with, I think that Yamal deserves to be there. I would go in for the João Neves also to be there, and probably I'll go for Doué.